Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and welcome to our first session of Let's Learn About Karbala. So I'm so pleased that you could all join us today. It's really nice to see some familiar faces. I've seen some of you before. You've been to some of the sessions or you joined our other challenges. So that's really nice to see you all again. I hope you're all well and hopefully you can hear me clearly. If you'd like to say something at the moment, you can't unmute yourself, but you can write in the chat. So if you can't hear me or if there's any issue, you can write it in the chat to me, okay? Let me just want to change something quickly. Okay, all right, so just before we begin, just a reminder actually, well, why we're here today and for the next few sessions. Hopefully today's the first session and inshallah you'll join us for the next few sessions. We have another 8 days after today. Inshallah we'll go till the 9th of Muharram. And during our sessions, we're not going to be here for too long, only about 30 minutes. And hopefully you will enjoy your sessions and hopefully the time will go very fast. There's lots to cover, lots to talk about. But obviously before we begin, just kind of as a brief reminder, I'm sure you're all familiar with working on Zoom and doing different sessions in school and other things. But just a reminder that if you could stay on mute, because there's so many of you here today, so it's easier if you're on mute. And I will try and get you to join in, so I'll let you unmute yourselves at different times. I'd like you to ensure you're on time. So well done to everyone who's already here. You did a good job on the first day. You're here on time. Come prepared. So if you can, come with a piece of paper and a pen so that maybe you can make some notes. I might ask you just to write something down. So make sure you're prepared. It's important that we're respectful to each other. Obviously, as good Muslims, we will always be, nice and respectful to each other and want to be kind to each other. So please make sure if you share something, you're respectful to each other. If you want to say something, you can raise your hand in the participant box. If you click on the right hand button on the mouse, you should be given the option to raise your hand, and I will try and ask you if I can at that time. It's up to you. You can turn on your camera if you'd like to. If you don't feel like you want to, that's fine as well. And also just, it's nice if you can sit somewhere where it's a bit quiet for you so that you can concentrate, because I'm going to be telling you lots of different interesting facts and I want you to be able to listen and concentrate on them. So excellent. For the children that I can see, looks like you're all ready to get going. So really good. Happy to see that. Just so you know, all our sessions, we're going to have the same sort of layout. So when we come in for the beginning of the session, we're going to recap what we learned the day before. We're going to talk about Karbala and we're going to talk about a specific relationship, okay? Then we're going to have a story, a short story, and I'll share with you an activity that you can do in your own time. And then inshallah on the next session or in another session, you can share your work with us through the camera. Okay, so then the last bit will be sharing your work. So I really look forward to you sharing your work. And in the other sessions that we've done, I've seen some amazing work by all of you. So the ones that have joined, so it'd be great to see the work that you do. Okay, so in today's session, we're going to talk about really briefly, what is Muharram? Where is Karbala? What relationships are? We're going to look at a family tree of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And we're going to start to talk about the sister of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So I want you thinking, and maybe you already know who we might be talking about today. All right, so let's see. Well, obviously to begin with, we all know which Islamic month it is, I'm sure. So today is the 1st of Muharram. And the Islamic calendar has 12 months in it. And out of that, the first month, the first day of the year is the 1st of the month of Muharram. So this is the first Islamic month, okay? Right, so you've got here the new moon, okay? And this is really important for us that you see the new moon at the beginning of every Islamic month, because our Islamic months start when we sight the new moon. So maybe, depends where you are in the world and how clear it might be for you, you may have seen the new moon. If not, maybe look out tonight because it will still be a new moon. Now, when the new moon is sighted, we start our new Islamic month. And it's important here to point out that in the English calendar, we are in the year 2021, okay? Now, who knows which Islamic year we're in though? Because our Islamic year is different. If you know it, maybe you can put it into the chat. Does anyone know which Islamic year we're in? can type it into the chat. Right. Okay. Some of you are close. Somebody's got it correct. A couple of you got it correct. Okay. Please don't draw in the screen. That might have been a mistake. Let me disable that so that we don't have any drawing. Okay. Excellent. So, and let me clear it because we have a line now. Hassan, can you please clear that? See if you can clear off the writing there, that part that we've got there, the red line. Okay, yes, so the Islamic year is 1443. Okay, so the Islamic year that began today is 1443. Some of you were close. Last year was 1442. Okay, so yesterday was 1442. Well done, Ali Raza, Irtaza. I can see a lot of Mustafa, a lot of correct names, correct answers there. So the Islamic year is 1443. Now, the reason why we have a different year for the Islamic calendar is because the Islamic calendar started later. It started when Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, migrated or moved to Medina, and when Islam began to be spread. Okay, so that was in 1443. That was when it began, and now we are 1,443 years after that. Okay, so that's why our Islamic year is a bit different. Okay, I just want to clear the screen here. Okay, maybe if we move on. Okay, so now what happens when we start our new Islamic year? Unfortunately, we don't start it in a happy way. We don't have New Year's parties. We don't have celebrations. Actually, we start our new year quite sad, with a broken heart. Because, why? Do you know why? And I can see a lot of you wearing black. Why? I can see Samara with her hand up. Hopefully your answer will be that it is Muharram. And we remember Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his family, a lot of who were actually killed or martyred in the Battle of Karbala. Okay, so we feel very sad and we listen to the stories of Imam Hussein alayhi salam during this time. Okay, so Muharram is important because is when the martyrdom, a martyrdom means when someone dies for their religion. Okay, so Imam Hussein alayhi salam, his family and his friends were martyred in the way of Islam. Okay, so we were sad for them. Also, we remember that a lot of children and their families were thirsty. They weren't allowed water for a couple of days and they were very, very thirsty. We remember the cruelty to the family and friends of the Imam. So the people, the enemies were very, very cruel. They would hit them, they would push them, they would pull at them. They put their houses on fire, their tents onto fire. So they were very, very cruel to them. And we remember this. And they tortured the women and the children of the Prophet's household. So this is really, really very sad. And that's why during this month of Muharram, we are very sad, we wear black, and we remember these events that took place. So just also so you know, the month, what is Karbala? Well, where is Karbala? Just in case any of you do not know, but I've seen some people writing that they have been to Karbala as well. That's really good. Karbala is a city in the country of Iraq. Okay, so you can see here it says Karbala and here is Iraq. Okay, and you've got these countries around them. So it's a bit far away from us. If you're in London, it's about 7 hours plane in the plane. Or some of you may be from there, maybe, or maybe you go there regularly. So the city of Karbala is in Iraq. All right, so Karbala is a city. Now it looks quite different. There's lots of big shrines, but before, if you can see the other picture I have here, it was a bit like this, like an open desert. And this is actually a picture representing the Battle of Karbala. So over here in the corner, you see lots of, like, only a very small amount of tents. And these were the tents of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his family. And if you look on the other side, you can see loads and loads of like people in red, perhaps. And these are the enemies that fought against Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his family and friends. And that was what was called the Battle of Karbala. And this is what we're going to be talking about, inshallah. Okay, so we're going to look at who is Imam Hussein. So do you know the name of Imam Hussein alayhi salam's grandfather? Who knows the name of Imam Hussein alayhi salam's grandfather? Can you tell me that? You can write it in the chat. Medea, you have your hand up. Let me see if I can. Yep, you can unmute yourself, Medea.
Is it Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Excellent. Yes, you are correct. Well done. So the Prophet, peace be upon him, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who was sent as the last prophet to guide us and teach us about Islam, is the grandfather of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So before we move on then to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, in our family tree, who was Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him's daughter? And I can see some correct answers in the chat as well. Excellent. Fatima, can you tell us who was Imam Prophet's daughter? Say that again. Oh, it's not very clear. Yeah. Okay, I think he said Sayyidah Fatima Zahra. Yeah, and that was his daughter's name, Sayyidah Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. She was a daughter of the Prophet. Now, she was married to who? Who was she married to? I can see lots and lots of hands up, so that's good. Ali Reza, can you tell us, who was she married to?
She was married to Imam Ali.
Excellent, well done. And Ali Reza, can you tell us, who was Imam Ali alayhi salam? Why is he so special?
He was a cousin of Prophet Muhammad.
Excellent, well done. He was a cousin of Prophet Muhammad, and also very importantly, he is our first Imam. Okay, so after the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, passed away, we then started to have Imams, and the first Imam was Imam Ali alayhi salam. So Imam Ali alayhi salam and Sayyidah Fatima Zahra were married, and they had some children. So the first son they had was Imam Hassan alayhi salam, who was our second Imam. Then they had Imam Hussein alayhi salam, who was our third Imam. And then there were two daughters, Sayyidah Zainab and Sayyidah Kulsum alayhi salam. And then there was also actually a baby Mohsin, who died before he was born. Okay, so these were the children of Sayyidah Fatima and Imam Ali alayhi salam. So you can see that Imam Hussein alayhi salam was the son of the most important Imam, Imam Ali alayhi salam and Sayyidah Fatima, and the grandson of the Prophet. So that shows us how important he is. Okay, and it's lovely to see so many hands up. Unfortunately, I can't ask everybody, but I can also see in the chat that lots of correct answers. So very good, well done. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the next slide. And just to say, before we talk about relationships, like we're going to be talking about in the next few days, a relationship or a relation is the way in which two or more people are connected. Okay, so we can have lots of different relationships. You could have a brother, you could have a sister, you could have a friend, you could have a grandparent. So what I'd like you to do before we move on is I want you to think for yourself, what relations do you have? Okay, and I might ask one or two of you to share with me. What relations do you have? Do you have a mother? Do you have a grandmother who's still alive? And maybe you could tell us their names. Do you have a very good friend? So it's people that we are connected with. So let me see, someone who I haven't had. Irfan, would you like to share? Let's see, was your hand up or has it gone down now? I think it's gone down. Iman, would you like to share? Can you tell me someone you have a relationship with? Iman, can you unmute yourself? Yeah.
I have a friend called Hiba, and she's been very good to me.
Excellent. Okay, so you have a connection with a friend of yours, and her name is Hiba. Excellent. How about Eliza? Can you tell me somebody you have a relation or a relation of yours? Can you tell me?
My mom.
Okay, excellent. Well done. Would you like to say her name?
Sajda.
Yeah. Okay, so you have a relationship with your mother, and she is your mother. So somebody that we are connected to. It could be one person, it could be two people, it could be lots of people. Okay, so Zainab, Jafri, excellent. You've got my sister, your mom, your dad, your cousins. Okay, and all of these people are so, so important to us. And Islam teaches us that we should always look after our relations. We should always take care of people, everyone, not just our relations, but we should always take care of people. Okay, so moving on, we're going to talk about our first relationship today. And today's relation is talking about sisters, as I said at the beginning. Now, sisters are really, really very important. And if you see here, sisters make the best of friends. Okay, so maybe you have a sister, maybe you don't. Maybe you have someone who's like a sister if you don't have a sister. But sisters are really, really very good friends of ours. Okay, and Sisters are always there to look after us. They're there to help us. They're there to be there when we need someone. Sometimes you might have a friend who's a bit like a sister for you. Now, sisters, sometimes, I'm sure you do it, and I do it as well. Sometimes we have arguments with sisters, okay? Or a brother, maybe. Or you might have a brother, maybe. You might have arguments with them. But that doesn't mean that we don't love them or that they don't care about us. We all love each other and all look after each other. Brothers and sisters are always there for each other. Okay, so we always know that even though we might argue one day or maybe in the morning, by the afternoon or the evening, we'll be friends again because we know that they are sisters and that they love us. Okay, so in the story of Karbala, there was a very, very special sister. Now, every day, we've got 9 days of our sessions. We're going to reveal one flag and we're going to find the special name behind the flag. So if we're looking at the sister of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, who do you think will be, whose name do you think will be behind my first flag? Mujtaba Ali, would you like to take a guess at that? You can write it in, okay. I can see some people writing the right answer.
Imam Hussein.
So this is the sister of Imam Hussein alayhi salam.
Oh, Bibi Zainab.
Right, excellent, well done, thank you. So let's check if you're correct. Let's click on our first flag. And you are correct, yes. So the first person that we're going to talk about is Syeda Zainab alayhi salam, who was the sister of the Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And she was so dear to the Imam. The Imam looked after her so much. But in Karbala, he had to leave her, and he had to leave her with a really, really big job. And her job was to look after the ladies and the children after all the men had been killed in the Battle of Karbala. So she had to step up and be really brave and be really courageous. And she stood by her brother all the time. She didn't leave him. She didn't get scared of what was happening, or she didn't just want to leave her brother. She stayed with her brother the whole time, and she helped him all the time. And she also helped the Imam of the time, Imam Zainal Abidin alayhi salam, because he was very sick. He wasn't able to fight in the war, in the battle. So she also looked after him. So she became like a warrior. She was really, really very strong. So just so that you can see again, just a reminder, we've got here Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and he is the brother of Syeda Zainab. Okay, so that is the relationship. Now, you probably know something about Syeda Zainab. Hopefully you know things about her. You may have heard your parents talk about her. You may have heard something in a majlis before, or maybe another workshop. Can you tell me something about Syeda Zainab? How would you describe her? What sort of person do you think she is? Who could describe her for me? Let's try and have someone we haven't had. Syed Hussein. If you unmute yourself. Syed Hussein. How would you describe Syeda Zainab? Very brave. Well done. I can see she was very brave. She was kind. What did you want to say, Syed Hussein?
Strong.
Oh yeah, brilliant. That's an excellent word. She was very strong. It's not something that any of us could do. She was very, very strong. She was brave. She was determined. Well done. I can see some amazing words, Rabab. Very good. Clever, Ali. Well done. She was grateful. Yeah. So if you see, I've got some of these words, and actually a lot of you have already said these words. She was brave. She was strong. She was helpful. She was patient. She was caring, and she was kind. Okay, excellent. Well done. So Zainab, Ali, I can see your hand up there. Did you want to say a word to describe her?
She was a pride of her father.
She was. Excellent. She was proud of her father. Her father was so proud of her. And I like that somebody also wrote that she was well-spoken, because she did an amazing speech in the court of Yazid, and she told the people of what they had done. She tried to teach them a lesson. Okay, excellent. So, well, when Lady Zainab was asked in the Yazid's court about Karbala, she said, "I saw nothing but beauty." After everything her family and she had been through, Lady Zainab did not complain or question Ali, or she didn't even ask why. She didn't say, you know, when something happens to us, when we have a hard day, we say, why did Allah do that to us? Or why did Allah let this happen? But she didn't even question question Allah, even though her family was killed, even though they were tortured. She did not question Allah. She knew that Allah loves us more than her own mother. And if he had planned something for you, then that is the best. So she left it to Allah. She was very patient. Okay, she didn't question and say why Allah did something. Right now on your screen, you can probably see something a bit strange. I would like you to tell me, what can you see? Okay, so there's a bit of a puzzle for you. What can you see? Let's have Mehdi. Can you tell me, what can you see? What can you see?
I can see a dot.
A dot, right? Okay, excellent. All right, and that is a correct answer. You can see a dot, a black dot. Okay, and that's what happens often. Okay, you can see a dot in the middle. Okay, and most of you will have noticed that, but I wonder if any of you noticed anything else. Often in our lives, we tend to focus on the negative things. So for example, that black spot that you can see, we all saw that black spot, like the negative things in our life. But the things we think are messing everything up. So we start to think about those bad things that are happening to us that are messing everything up. But if we look at the paper again, I want you to look at the paper again, okay, or the screen again. And there's definitely more white space on the paper than there is of the black, right? Can you see that? You can see that there's so much white. However, most of us, we just saw the black dot in the middle. And that's like what we do with our lives. When we have one small, tiny little problem, we think it's something really, really big, like that black dot. But we forget about all of those good things in our lives that we can do that are always there, okay? So Lady Zainab and the Ahl Bayt always had Allah as their focus. And despite all their difficulties that they went through, they knew and they understood that everything from Allah was for a good reason, and they could only see the good. So they always saw the white paper. So I want you to think in your head of a time where maybe you complained about something. You might have complained to your mom about something, maybe, or your dad, or maybe your teacher. You complained about something. However, sometimes maybe we don't need to complain about that. Maybe that's just something very, very small. Maybe your mom didn't buy you the sweet that you wanted to have that day, okay? But did you think that maybe she's bought you lots and lots of sweets and lots of other times? And we should be grateful for that. So we should start to think, like Lady Zainab did, about the white paper rather than the little dot in the middle, okay? That's what Lady Zainab teaches us. She also teaches us, can you see here, we've got a candle that's been lit up. And what this teaches us is that after all the hardship, after all the suffering and the wrong that was done by Yazid, the goodness of Lady Fatima continued to shine. So she still shined like a bright candle. She showed her beautiful manners, and she had showed them how to speak and how to behave. So even though the people were not nice to her, even though the people had killed her, the enemies had killed people in her family, she spoke to them nicely and she was kind to them. This happens sometimes when something happens to us, let's say at school, someone does something small to us, we might be really, really rude back to them, yeah? But what we learn from Lady Zainab is that we should be patient. And if someone does something bad to us, it doesn't mean that we let them get away with it, but we should try and be patient. Maybe we can talk to them nicely and we can say, I didn't like what you did to me, or that wasn't very nice, but we don't have to scream and shout or be like them, but we should always be good. So this is another lesson that we learn from Bibi Zainab or Syeda Zainab alayhi salam. Okay, so I want you to remember those two things, the paper with the dots and the candle. And we should all be like this shining candle. However many things might happen in our lives, we should still continue to look and focus on the good. Okay, thank you. Right. If we can just make sure you only type in what you need to in the chat. I can see some really, really good answers coming in, so that's excellent. I think someone might have done a mistake there. Right, so we're going to move on to talking about a majlis. We're nearly there, nearly at the end, and you're all doing so well. Just a couple more minutes, okay? So the first majlis was actually started by Syeda Zainab, okay? She was the one who, after she was freed from the prison, she went outside and she got and gathered all the people and she asked them to come and listen to the story of Karbala. She explained what happened on the battlefield. She explained how the people were treated. She was explained how her brother was killed. And that's how majlises started. So now in the next few days, I'm sure you'll all be going to lots of different majlises. When you go to them, you should remember that it was thanks to Bibi Zainab that these majlises began. Okay, she was the one who started them, and they're there to teach us things. so that we can remember what happened and how Imam Hussein alayhi salam saved our religion. Okay, so now I'm going to just share a very quick story before we finish off today. Okay, so listen carefully. It's a bit like a short majlis. I want you to listen carefully. On the 1st of Muharram, Imam Hussein alayhi salam's caravan had reached just outside Karbala. They pitched their tents for the night. Hussein and his sister Zainab were standing talking outside Hussein's tent. Together, they both sighted the moon of the 1st of Muharram. Tears flowed down from Hussein's eyes. Zainab grew worried and asked her brother, "My dearest brother Hussein, why are there tears in your eyes?" "Zainab, my sister Zainab, please pray for me that I keep my promise to Allah. Pray, my sister, that I succeed in completing my mission to save Islam. Zainab, pray for me that I do not hesitate in giving up my life for Islam." Hussein was not crying because he was worried about dying. Hussein did not ask his sister to pray to Allah to save his life. All he was concerned about was saving us and saving Islam. Bibi Zainab's eyes filled with tears when she heard that Hussein asked her what Hussein had asked her to do. "My beloved sister Zainab, don't cry. You will have to perform a greater duty after my death. Be brave and be patient." Bibi Zainab went into her tent. Ali Akbar joined his father Hussein. "My son, Ali Akbar, I saw a dream last night. I saw a group of people heading for a place where death was waiting for them. I saw them all killed one by one. Father, I know these people. Those people are us. But tell me, Father, are we on the right path?" "Yes, my son Akbar. Yes, we are on the right path." "Then let us not worry, Father. If we are on the right path, then let us die happily. We should continue our journey and greet our death with a smile. I am so proud of you, my son, Ali Akbar." And that's what Imam Hussein alayhi salam said just on the 1st of Muharram. And that's what we remember today. Right, so quickly I'm going to share with you an activity that I'd like you to do. Okay, so we spoke about some people in Karbala. I mentioned Syeda Zainab, who was in Karbala, and also we talked about Ali Akbar, who was the son. And I'm sure you know about other names that came in the story of Karbala, or you could ask your parents. And I would like you to make sort of a chart or a family tree of the people that you know who were in Karbala, okay? And you can add other names as well. And if you don't know some, that's fine. What we're going to do is over the next 9 days, we're going to try and add the names that we come across over the next few days. So I'd like you to create something. I'm just going to show you some more examples. You've got some more here. These are just, you know, examples of what you can do. I'm sure, and I always say, the children, you can create more interesting and better things than I've shared with you. So I look forward to seeing what you create. I'm also going to leave you with one task, and I want you to try and do this as well for tomorrow. Okay, I would like you to do something nice for your brother or your sister, remembering the relationship of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and Syeda Zainab. Now, don't worry if you don't have a brother or sister. You can do something nice for somebody else. I want you to be like Syeda Zainab alayhi salam today. Okay, be courageous, be brave, be kind, be considerate, okay? And maybe tomorrow when you join, you can start writing in the chat what you did, so I know that what you've been doing to be like Syeda Zainab. Okay, and that is pretty much the end of our session today. So well done, everyone. You listened so well. I hope you enjoyed the session and learned something. Thank you for joining us today. And inshallah, we'll be back tomorrow at the same time. All right, so we'll see you tomorrow, inshallah. Hafiz.